Miracles! What's good?
Hey, what's up, y'all?
Yo, what's good? Yo, you travel alone a lot?
I do.
You do? How is that? You have to have a certain sense of confidence in order to do that.
You do. Like I was talking about it earlier, where I feel like a lot of people put a lot of limits on themselves.
Yeah.
And for me, it's just like most people don't follow through. And if everything was as easy as it seems, then everyone would be a millionaire, everyone would be an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
And that's not the case. And it literally, what defines that is the follow through.
All these bitches love me, I'm on top. I get a can for show. I didn't love them.
I encourage it. It's really entertaining for me.
Yeah.
But if I can win at the same time,
well, it's different because it's different when you entertain other people versus when you entertaining yourself.
Oh, yes.
It's way different. You be like, I am a fool. I'm a fool.
Yes.
So do you travel alone a lot?
I do.
You do? How is that? You have to have a certain sense of confidence in order to do that.
You do. Like I was talking about it earlier, where I feel like a lot of people put a lot of limits on themselves.
Yeah.
And for me, it's just like most people don't follow through. And if everything was as easy as it seems, then everyone would be a millionaire, everyone would be an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
And that's not the case. And it literally, what defines that is the follow through. And for me, I just realized over time, I can't do the things that I want to do if I'm waiting for people and someone says, oh yeah, girl, I'll come on that trip with you. No, you won't.
No, you won't.
And the thing is, majority of the people have the same amount of money, if not more than I do. It's not about money or anything like that. It's not about time or anything like that. I think we all can make excuses for things, and I'm not trying to let somebody else's excuses affect the things that I want to do in my life.
Respect. So, Finesse Queen, that's your brand?
Yes.
Word. Finesse Queen. So tell me a little bit about what that brand, where it comes from.
It's something that I'm starting up. I'm trying to actually pitch a show. So coming soon. But just in general, the way I was raised, I didn't realize it at the time. I think black people have a really great way of doing this, is using your resources, whether that be taking the breadcrumbs and making it into stuffing, or, taking the parts of pig and making it into, glorious meals and things like that. I think we have a niche for being able to utilize our resources and maximizing the outcome of it. And so Finesse Queen embodies that. So it's not just hacking your life and doing things in a finessing way. It's literally taking things that they say that you're not supposed to be able to do, and doing it and accomplishing things and finding out things in life without a whole lot of resources.
Your husband gonna love you. He gonna love you real well.
First, we gotta find a boyfriend.
He gonna love you real well for that, because as a man, I'm always thinking about money, and so I feel like we come from a generation where you just want to cash out all the time, and I'm like, are you stupid? What's up with the future? You know what I mean? And so for you to kind of cultivate that type of energy where I want to save my money, I want to finesse so I can actually finesse.
Yeah, and see, I'm not necessarily saving money. I can't lie. I spend just like everybody else does. But there's certain things that why spend more when you can spend less?
When you can spend less,
we can spend less or spend nothing. And I think a lot of times it is the easier route to just pay your way and to just flex and do what you need to do. That is one way.
Right.
But the more and more I realize, especially with influencers and celebrities, they spend less. They get stuff sent to them for free. So I'm like, why can't that be me? And that's what Finesse Queen is about. It's really impacting you and giving you the resources to let you know, it's possible to go to a concert for free. It's possible to sit up in this place. It's possible to be in business class or executive lounge when you go on a flight. These are things that a lot of people don't know, and that's what I want to share with the world, is you don't have to have a lot to live large.
Right. So question, because I get a very, very assertive, dominant personality from you, do you feel like people kind of receive that wrong? Because I feel like you have a good heart. You just want to what's good, everybody? What's good?
Yeah, I always try to bring positive energy into any room that I step into. But yeah, it definitely is off-putting a lot of times, especially when you're around people that aren't very confident in themselves. I think it's very easy for us to measure ourselves based off of someone else. Like, what your definition of yourself shouldn't be based off of another person. It shouldn't be like, I'm rich because that person has a Mercedes. What? You know, because the person that has a Mercedes could be considered broke to a person that has a Bentley or Rolls Royce, you know. So I think that's where it becomes an issue. I haven't really figured it out. But I can't worry about it, and I know that my heart is good, and I'm always trying to help people. And you know, if people have an issue with that, there's really nothing I can do. I start to realize like it's an internal thing. I'm only accountable for myself, and I have to make sure that I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing in life.
Right. So, what's your favorite color?
Black.
Black. Okay. When's your birthday?
February 6th.
February 6th. Where I'm trying to think whose birthday. Aquarius. Okay. What does that? What does that look like?
We are very liberal, humanitarians, very independent, not great lovers, you know, like we do love, but we look for a more in-depth type of love, you know, like within the mind, like how are we connecting with people, how are we affecting the world type of thing.
Right. So, Uno or Connect Four?
Uno.
Do you believe that you can put a draw 4 on top of a draw 2? What are your thoughts?
It depends what rules.
Okay.
But technically you can stack them Jones. If it's just me and you playing, right? If you do a draw, if I lay a draw, that means you can't do a turn, which means it immediately goes back to me anyway. So technically, you might as well just drop them both and pick up them cards.
So who is your spades partner? You like spades?
What was it?
Spades.
Oh, okay. So
don't tell me you don't know.
My black card has been revoked.
Yeah, go ahead. Just as long as you say that.
Yeah. So
all right. So all right. Next question. we gonna slide past that. All right. So let's get into where you are now. Well, first let me ask you this. Because of course we know that you are the digital media planner for Complex, right? But I want to talk about Miracle before that happened.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Who was Miracle before that? Like, what kind of work did you put in that led you there? You know what I mean? Because I always say, I know God wants me to be somewhere, but my work ethic has to match where He wants me to be.
Correct. Your space, your mindset, and your energy has to be on that level before you can be taken to that level. And so for me, like, I purposely broke myself down. So I was working retail prior to working at Complex. This was a few years prior to. But I got comfortable and complacent. And I think a lot of times we work a 9 to 5 and we're like, oh, this is good. You know, we got a steady income. We're comfortable. We got our apartment. We got our car. We have everything. And, you know, if it's not really serving a purpose, you'll find yourself unhappy. You'll find yourself at a discourse constantly because you're not in alignment with what your purpose is. And so you have to unlearn, you have to strip down. And for me, I've always been an adapter, but I'm not actually addressing a lot of the emotional needs, the things that I want, you know. So for me, I had to stop working retail. I purposely quit my job in retail. I went into
what were you doing?
What?
We're in retail.
Retail sales for cell phones.
Okay, word.
Business consultant. I did business plans, technical support, all of that.
Word. Okay.
So it was cool because it was a lot of
money. You a
techie? I am. I always like technology. I definitely am a techie.
Are you a geek behind closed doors?
I guess it depends what's your level, what's your definition of geek. If you only look at the technical side, you'd be like, dang, you know some stuff.
Yeah,
and I get excited talking about a lot of that stuff too. Word. So I guess I could be considered a geek.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Word. So what's your necklace right there? Is that
this? I don't know. It's like a pentagon.
Oh, where I thought it was something special to you, maybe. So I heard you. Well, let me ask you this. At that point where you realized that you were going to be a part of Complex, what was your mind space like? Like, what was it to digest it? Like, how did you get there?
Yeah,
how did you
I actually had applied for a lot of places, and the universe has a way of pushing you when you want to hang on. So just like I said, we get caught up in the 9 to 5. And even though I wasn't working at T-Mobile or AT&T anymore, I was working front desk at this gym. And it was cool, it was a cool gig, but I wasn't meant to stay there for long. And for sure, my skill sets and abilities were higher than what I was doing, but I got comfortable yet again. You know, I made an excuse of my circumstances. I was like, oh, I'm in school, so that means I need to work part-time. Oh, I have this going on. I was taking care of my brother. I was foster parent over him. And
Older, he's younger. How old is he?
He's now 18.
Word.
At the time, he was 16.
Word, really?
Yeah, so like, here I am taking care of my 16-year-old brother.
Yeah.
And becoming foster parent, having to fight through the system, and I wasn't really working. I don't even know how I was able to pay for rent, but I knew I would make it. So still, because I had that job, that little job, I'm thinking like, okay, everything's good. And you know, just the universe had a way of saying, you know what, this isn't for you, you need to go.
Yeah.
I ended up like getting kind of disrespected and moving away from that place, and the next day I was like, well, you gotta hit the grind. So I start applying everywhere, and the mindset that I said is I want to apply for every place that people think I shouldn't have. The places that, or the positions that I really want that I'm not qualified for.
Respect.
And now I started adapting. I want them to tell me no. I want you to tell me no and tell me why. And then I can adapt from there. Because again, we put boundaries on ourselves and then we limit ourselves. 9 times out of 10, the scholarships that are out there, most people don't even apply for. There's money to be picked up. There are jobs and positions. And majority of these places, when you work at a company, you realize these people don't even have the qualifications. So make them do their research on you. Who cares? So I started applying for everything, and this was actually an internship that I had gotten. And as soon as I applied, I'm like, this is my job. I literally put it in my Waze and saved it on Google Maps and put it in as work. That way I could get my daily commute. Because I was like, it's mine. And I think Will Smith said it best. It's just like, why have a plan B when it only distracts from plan A? And for me, as soon as I put that application in, I got that response, I'm like, it's mine.
It's mine.
I just need that interview. You just need to talk to me. That's
and
it.
you good, right? You're good. And that's what I was just about to ask you. I'm going to say, well, you know, how long have you been at Complex?
I've only been at Complex a year and 4 months.
So you didn't graduate essentially with your speech communications degree?
I had no degree.
That's crazy to me, because in the world, you know, where they say education is everything, you really, I said, you got to take what you want. You got to be hungry for it. You got to be hungry.
Then learn, but don't be like, I can't apply for this job at this big company because I don't have a degree. Again, make them tell you no. Who cares? Even though the application says it. What does it matter if you submitted an application knowing that you didn't meet half the qualifications? All you did was waste a few minutes or some time, and 9 times out of 10 you're going to use the same resume, and I'd be copy and pasting the same thing, just change the company. Oops, didn't say that. But hey, that's really what it is.
And I can definitely attest to that, because when I applied for media here, I'm like, oh, they don't want my shit. My shit is whack. Like, you don't know. And I got I was like, oh shit.
There's been stuff. I had a finesse queen moment, and I unfortunately. Well, I don't know if we're going to use it, but I don't care. Going to events and being press and media, you can put in press applications for a lot of things, and they're not going to check a lot of stuff. It's not that it's bad, but it's just a prime example. Like, if you want to interview people and you want to really get out there and grind, you never know what people are looking at. What? It probably was some intern that was checking off the media list. But either way, I'm in there.
I'm in there. What's good?
I wrote something that on paper looked good.
Yeah.
And that's all that matters.
What's good? I rock with you.
Yeah.
And you're from Maryland. But you don't have that accent though.
I know. That's
good though.
Everywhere I go, people are like, where are you from?
Yeah. Word. And so where are you living right now?
Los Angeles, California.
How has that been for you? Because is it as superficial as people say it is? What do you think?
It is. But I think that's everywhere. I think everything is just multiplied out there because of the volume of people.
Yeah.
It's the same issues, same problems, same superficiality from people.
Word.
But it's just because it's more people, it's like a virus. It kind of just grows within itself, but you know, you can choose not to participate in that, and I'm like, I don't subscribe to that stuff. So.
Word. And so one of my last questions for you, Miracle, is if you could tell the young 18-year-old Miracle fresh out of high school, your 10-year anniversary, high school anniversary just passed. How do you feel about that?
That shows you my school's some garbage. We couldn't even coordinate a class reunion. I mean, what about Memorial Day weekend?
Yeah.
No.
So yeah, what would you tell 18-year-old Miracle?
Ask more questions. Ask more questions and don't just accept what somebody is giving to you or saying to you. Question everything. I think very quickly, as soon as I got out of school, just in general, on my path in learning, I realized the adults that we thought had it all together don't. Even down to my parents, my uncle, I was shocked. But I don't know why I was shocked, because they're human. And so I think had I known that earlier, I would have started making more choices for myself. Even when they say, oh, go to school, okay? Who's telling you to go to school? They have us go to free elementary school all the way up to high school, but then you end up getting $75,000 debt. Now that might not be the case for everyone.
Yeah.
But a good amount. So it now makes me think, like, why were you telling everyone to go to school?
Yeah.
How is it that an 18-year-old can get student loans but can't get a car?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? There's a reason why things are designed the way they are. I think as a society, we forget that what we know is based off of what somebody else told us. It doesn't make it the truth, nor does it make it something that we can actually take heed to, and it doesn't make it right.
Respect.
So I just wish I would have asked more questions. And I'm a very independent person. I was very independent then.
Yeah.
But if I had did it even more, I would have messed the world up for sure.
Where does your resilience come from? Because that's earned. That's earned through adversity. So where does it come from?
Absolutely. Being raised by my grandmother, you know, she was a trooper, and like my mom wasn't around, my dad wasn't around, and so like going through that left me with no excuses. Like just because my mom and dad are going through something, you know, it doesn't mean that I can't behave right, you know. So my grandmother always raised me to be accountable for myself, be independent, you know.
Respect.
So that's where that comes from.
Yeah, because I always say that is earned, that empathy, that compassion, that servanthood that you have to serve, you know, all of the things that you have your hand in, that like I said, that resiliency, just stand above, that's earned through something, you know, that's earned through something. And so I certainly appreciate you.
Yes.
Okay, one question, social media wise, because I don't really like talking about your job and what you do. Like, who cares? Like, not who cares, granted. But that's, to me, I want to know who you are. You feel me? So, but business wise, because you've dropped a lot of gems on us already through the seminar, how did you even land? How do you cultivate your social media? How do you cultivate the social media that you handle for Complex, or the media period that you handle? Because sometimes I feel like you can either come off way too thirsty or you're just boring. You get what I'm saying? Like,
and then you don't want it to be artificial. I mean, I don't have the answer. Like, I'm still figuring it out myself.
But they trust you, though. That's a big deal, though.
Yeah, I mean, but one thing that I realize is that, you know, being 100% you can't go wrong. And if someone doesn't bang with that or mesh with that, that's not your people. So if I was in a predicament where Complex was like, oh, she's very corny, oh, she keeps posting stuff, you know what I mean? If that was the case, that wouldn't be the right company for me to align with. I would be working at a tech place or something like that, you know. So again, if people just 100% act in their 100% authentic self, then the things that people see don't matter, and the opinions don't matter. You know, as long as you're being respectful of other people, it's fine.
Bet, Miracle. Well, go ahead, drop your handles for me, so that way.
Yes, that way you can follow me. And see what's up and
what's
watch
Gucci?
the growth, and you know,
what's good?
See the finesse happen. And so you can follow me at Miraculous Millie, MiraculousMilly. Miraculous Millie.
Word, and Word, you are the finesse queen. I love you so much, and I don't even know you.
Yes.
Word, well, 20-some and Miracle, we are out.
Thank you.